Hello everyone, I'm Abe and today I'm gonna make a character skill up guide for every single character in the game to show you what skills to max first and what to prioritize in game for the most success. So, without further ado, let's just jump into it. First up we have Super Saiyan Goku. Super Saiyan Goku is quite simple. When we're gonna take into account for every single character that if there is skill up damage, skill 1 damage up, and if there isn't. First of all, I think even after the nerfs, Meteor Hammer is still the best rush for Super Saiyan Goku. Usually, before the nerf, it was Meteor Hammer, and it's still a very strong ability, even if it has a little bit more cooldown. On skill 1 of damage, I think Kamehameha is the best. Now their cooldowns are pretty similar, so you can even get away with maxing it without skill 1 up, but I still think Meteor Hammer is superior. There is a thing, specifically with Goku, that on level 8, you have the ability to either put a point into your Spirit Bomb or into one of these skills. And I think getting level 2 Spirit Bomb doesn't do a lot for Goku, since you're not really using your Spirit Bomb for damage anyway. So I think it's best to level 8, skip Spirit Bomb level 2, and then put it into the Meteor Hammer or the Kamehameha respectively. Because it will give you way more damage having one of these skills maxed out before you have this skill on level 2, because you use it for securing objectives anyway. Next up we have Vegeta. And for him, it's very simple. It's 1, 2, 3. You rush Energy Blast Volley for the most part because it gives you a lot of armor and it's your main damaging spell. Skill 2 is very good for pulling the enemies towards you, and it's also very good for farming as well. Skill 3 is actually a pretty decent skill. What it does is that it pushes everyone away and it gives you a lot of armor on enemy hits, so the more enemies are close to you, the more armor you get back, which can be very clutch in a lot of situations. So skill 2 and skill 3 is the order for Vegeta. On Krillin, it's a bit more personal preference. You can either go with Energy Mine or you can go with Scattering Energy Wave. I think the most people mostly go with Energy Mine because it's very simple and it does a lot of damage. And it's a very good zoning tool. I think this is best in the most cases, but if you are against an enemy team where enemy team has a lot of energy blasts, you might wanna max this. For example, if you're against Super Saiyan 3 Goku, if you're against I can't even think of any names. Let me just check real quick. If you're against Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, even like Bojack, all those characters, they can just delete Krillin's mines for free. So it might be worth to actually max this skill instead. But usually I think Energy Mine is more consistent. Scattering Energy Wave is also really good, but it has a little bit of a higher cooldown and you don't use it as often. So I think 1, 3, 2 is the order for Krillin in my opinion. Next up we have Piccolo. Piccolo is very simple. Light Grenade first, Hellzone Trap second, and Demon Whip third. In the early game though, you shouldn't be putting a point into Hellzone Trap. It's better to put 1 point into Light Grenade at level 2, level 3 put a point into Demon Whip, so you have mobility, so you can play aggressive or defensively according to what happens in lane. And then at level 4, instead of putting a point on Hellzone Trap, you should put it in Light Grenade instead, so you have a level 2 Light Grenade, because it will do way more damage. And Hellzone Trap level 1 doesn't really do anything anyway. So 1, 2, 3, but in the early game you take 1, 3, 2. Or 1, 3, 1, 2, essentially. So you will put a point in Hellzone Trap when you get level 6 instead of level 5, because level 5 you get your ult, which you want. So at level 6 you put a point into this. Other than that, you just max 1, 2, 3. Next up is Gohan. Gohan is a bit different than people might think. The thing is that I have played with a lot of Gohans. I have played a lot of Gohan in the early stages of the game when I was grinding the ladder when playing tech. Gohan's skill 2 is what you should be maxing. this ability is very, very strong and very, very good. It has an insane range at max level, and it can even disarm if you just tap it, but it can stun if you hold it in. So, skill 2 is what you should be maxing. Skill 3 is what I think, and a lot of the higher elo Gohan mains think you should be maxing second. Because this is basically it's like putting a barrier, solid barrier on all of your teammates in here. This reduces so much damage. It does so much damage reduction when you have this. So it's really, really, really strong, especially at level 3. Even at level 2 and level 1, it still does a lot of, gives you a lot of damage reduction to energy defense. And Masenko is just not very good. It does a lot damage, like it does good damage when you're up close, but like for the most part, you just kind of push enemies away when you use it from distance. So it's just very weak in my opinion. And I think you should be maxing 2, 3, 1. A lot of you Gohan players don't even put a point into Masenko until you're forced to do it at level 10, I think. So 3, 2, 1 for Gohan. 2, 3, 1, sorry, for Gohan is what I would personally run. Next up is Dabura. For Dabura, it's very straightforward. You go skill 3, skill 2, and skill 1 for Dabura. Evil Flame is very, very strong. It gives move speed down, has insane AoE. It's not the ability that applies the most petrification, but it's very, very good for chasing people down and slowing them, and just overall doing very good damage. It does more damage the closer they are to you when you use it, so you want to use it as close to them as possible. Darkness Spear second, because having no vanish on enemies is really, really strong, and it gives him a lot of move speed. And you get 3 spears at level 3, which is very, very good. This ability is really good for filling up the petrification gauge, but it has a really high cooldown, so maxing it isn't really that consistent. But it is still, nonetheless, a pretty decent skill. So I think skill 3, skill 2, skill 1 is best. For early game, I would recommend going skill 2, and you can get away with going skill 1 for early, for level 3 and 2, because this does a lot for your petrification gauge, and you can do like a quick combo where you vanish into skill 1 and then you do this, use the spear, and then you can run people down and they can't really vanish. But other than that, 3, 2, 1 is the order. For Majin Buu, it's very, very simple. You want to max Healing Ray because it's its bread and butter skill. It's the best. It's very, very strong, and it's gotten a pretty decent range buff this patch. Next up, you want to max Strangle Gum, since it is actually a pretty good ability and it does decent damage now. And it's very good for applying attack down to your enemies, making them do less and making them be way easier to catch and also hit because of the Buu stuff that surrounds them. I think skill 3 is very bad. I don't know why people like this skill so much. I mean, it has its uses, but for the most part, I don't think you should be putting any points into skill 3 at all. You should be putting a point into Healing Ray and Strangle Gum, and then giving Strangle Gum level 2 instead of putting a point into skill 3, I think. You can put a point into this when you get level 10, and it forces you to. Other than that, I think these two abilities are just above, way better and way more important to get levels on than this. For Zamasu, it's very, very simple. You want to get this maxed out, and then you want to get this maxed out after. So skill 1, 3, and 2 is your order. It's also your order in the early game. You want to get skill 1, then skill 3, and then skill 2. So very, very simple for Zamasu. There isn't really a lot to talk about. This helps you chase down enemies way more consistently than having this at maxed first. So I think this is the best order for him. Next up is Kale. For Kale, it's very, very simple as well. It's skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. In the early game, at level 3, you want to get skill 1 and skill 3, so you can do the combo, but after that, you want to max skill 1, skill 2, and then skill 3. It's very, very simple, and there's not really a lot to go over. For Daima Goku, this is also very, very simple. You want to get skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. Since this is your most consistent combo, and this you don't really need it at level 3, but it's it can be very good, but it's these two are just way more important in my opinion. For Frieza, it is usually you go skill 1, skill 3, skill 2, because Sabon is your main guy, especially after the buffs he received recently. So you wanna max Sabon out ASAP, and then you wanna max this out. Frieza has a tendency to use the red playstyle, where you go for the backdoors a lot, and try and win the game from that, because Frieza's cooldowns are so high, that when you run Gekishin high, you get your cooldowns back way faster, and also the higher your cooldowns are, the more damage they do to towers. So Frieza will, in some cases, have like a mini Gekishin burst max, because of his abilities having so high cooldowns. So 1, 3, 2, because Dodoria isn't really that good. I mean, he is good, but he's not that good compared to these two. These are way more important because this buffs his Sabon, and Sabon is the guy you want to focus on mainly. Next up is Bojack. For Bojack, it's a lot of people say different things, but I have been talking to some of the best Bojack players who actually play Bojack. Yeah, I know it's very, very crazy that people actually play this character, but they go skill 2, skill 3, and then skill 1. Skill 2 is your main damaging spell. It covers a lot of ground, a lot of area, and it's the skill that you use mainly for damage. Psycho Thread is a decent choice for maxing first, but it doesn't really do a lot of damage, and it's kinda meh. It's kinda meh, and you mainly use it to just like detonate the bombs. So 2, 3, 1 is the most consistent. I think skill 1 is just a bit bland and a bit bad, in my opinion. Next up, we have Baby. With Baby, it is quite simple as well. You wanna max skill 1, then skill 3, then skill 2. A lot of people like to max skill 3 on Baby, but I think this ability is heavily overrated. The only time I would actually go this as max would be in Superstart. If you have Superstart, you can go for Possession on Baby. Finger Blitz Barrage does a lot of damage, and it's very good utility. It helps you keep the enemy carries off of your carries, especially in the lane. And I think this ability is just very, very overrated and inconsistent. Most people will just ignore you and they will go for the enemy, and then even if you have it at level 3, you are not gonna heal them enough while 2 people are hitting your carry while you're inside them. So, in my opinion, this, and this, you should go for in the most games. In some games you can get away with going this. We'll go in skill 3, skill 1, then skill 2, but I think skill 1, 3, 2 is better in most cases. Next up is Oop. For Oop, we have skill 3, skill 1, and then skill 2. Skill 3 is the most consistent Oop skill. It's 3 extra dashes, which does decent damage. And the other spells, like this spell is really good as well, but having 3 dashes is just too insane, and having the insane amount of damage that it gives you is just way more consistent having this. Second is Rage Barrage. It's a very good spell, and it has a long range. It does good damage, and it also gives you a lot of Cyclone back. So you should be maxing skill 3 and then skill 1. The last one is skill 2, because the only thing you mainly uses it for is to cleanse. You have a no obstruction passive when you use this, which means that you can't get CC'd. You can't get controlled by anything. You can't get provoked by Caulifla, you can't get taunted, you can't get slowed, you can't get anything. You can get stunned. So this is a very strong spell, but you mainly just use it for the no obstruction, to cleanse out of Caulifla or cleanse out of Cooler's S2 or something like that. Next up is Caulifla. This is very straightforward. For Caulifla you just go skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. Skill 1 is your main ability, so obviously you should be maxing this. Skill 2 helps you chase down enemies very easily. And skill 3 is very good defensively if you wanna block beam attacks, because it blocks any projectiles that comes that goes into this giant energy release that she does. And it also helps you run away after doing it, because she gets so much movement speed even early on. Next up is Trunks. For Trunks, it is also very simple. You go skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. In a lot of cases, you can even get away with not even putting a point into skill 3 until level 10, when it forces you to. A lot of people just go skill 1, skill 2, because this is his bread and butter combo. This is the main thing. I don't think you should skip Burning Attack, but I think you should definitely max Burst Sword, and then skill 2 you should max Vanish Strike. I think this is the most consistent path for him. Since Trunks has really high cooldowns, it can be really challenging to play the game, so you should play around Burst Sword and go for last hits in lane. Next up is Android 17. 17 is very straightforward. You wanna max skill 1, since it is your main damaging tool and it actually it removes enemies' buffs and applies debuff status effect instead, which is very strong. It's a very powerful mechanic. And then skill 3 afterwards for the barrier and the movement speed when it's activated with infinite energy. Skill 2 is a very underwhelming skill. It doesn't really do a lot. You mainly use it for the stun part sometimes if you're really up close and personal with the enemies, but you aren't in most cases. So having skill 1 is very consistent, and skill 3 is very good as well, because it can block so much damage and help you out of sticky situations. For Cooler, it is a bit more tricky. You can do a lot of different stuff with Cooler depending on the game, depending on what you like. The most safe way is just going skill 1, because having a very large AoE beam is good. It can remove barriers very easily. It's also good for chasing people down. It does decent damage, but a lot of people also go for skill 2 max, because this skill is very strong, especially if used in retaliation. It does like three hits consecutively, which all do decent damage, and it applies high pressure, meaning that no one can dash or vanish or anything out of it. It also applies movement speed down, and it's really good to counter people, to counter enemies who have dashing abilities. For example, Super Saiyan Goku, who will often dash into you. If you time it right, you can use your skill 2 and it will cancel his dash midair, and he will be stunned, which is very good. So I think in most cases, depending on the matchup, if they're against a lot of characters who dash a lot, like Super Saiyan Goku, even Oop, even though he has the obstruction, I think skill 2 is better to max. But most consistently, it should be skill 1. I don't think skill 3 is worth maxing for the most part. It has its uses, but I just think the two other are more consistent in my opinion. So for the most part, you will be maxing 1, 2, 3. Some games, depending on enemy team comp, you should max skill 2 and then 1 and then 3. So for the Gammas, you usually want to go skill 3, then 1, then 2. I used to go skill 1, 2, 3 on Gammas in order, but I think having skill 3 does way more damage and is way more consistent. These skills, you might even end up in a fight where you have maxed skill 1 and then Gamma 2 dies, and then you don't have your maxed skill 1 ability in the fight, which is very bad. With skill 3, you have it even if one of your Gammas die. So it's very consistent having this, and it does a lot of damage up close. So I think you should be maxing skill 3, then 1, and then 2 for the most part. If it's skill 1 damage buff, you can get away with Gamma Strike, but I still think skill 3 in most scenarios is just way better. Next up is Android 18, and for 18 it's quite simple as well. You want to max skill 1, then 2, then 3. The reason you don't put points into 3 early on is because it's a very inconsistent skill. The second that you don't hit an enemy, if they vanish out of your dash, if they time it well, you don't have an ability. So if you put all your points into this, it's gonna be a bit awkward if you miss your one skill. So having the Destructo Discs, they do a lot of damage, they have a long range, and they can even home if you have hit them with one of these skills. So 1, 2, 3, Lightning Step is a very good skill. It has a lot of range and it even staggers on hit. So I think it's very strong. For Cell, it is very simple as well. You go skill 1, and then skill 3, and then skill 2. Skill 1 is very good. It covers a wide distance, and you should really be maxing this every game, to be honest. There is no game where you should be going skill 3. I've heard some people talk about skill 3 max, but this is just not it. But it's good to max second, because Raid Smash doesn't really need to get points in. All it does, maxing this skill, is it gives it more range, so you can use it from longer range, which isn't that necessary, since you have a giant AoE slow, and still can just chase after people easily. Next up is hit. For hit, it's very simple as well. Most hit players go with skill 1, then skill 3, and then skill 2. Some people like maxing skill 3 first, but I don't think it's that necessary to have. So I think Death Blow just gives him so much more damage and good range. Makes him capable of proccing to finishing off enemies and also proccing his passive from long range. So I think 1, 3, 2 is the best for hit. For Super Saiyan 3 Goku, it is also very simple. You just want to put points into skill 1, then 2, and then 3. Skill 1 is your bread and butter, and it's the most important ability in your entire kit. Skill 2 is pretty good as well. It doesn't do that much damage, but it's very good for chasing down people and also running away. It has a very long range, and it should be max second in my opinion. There is a world where you can put 2 points into instant transmission instead of maxing explosive strike immediately, because it does up the range a bit. And I think that's not a bad thing to do in most cases. I just think having this defensive tool is very good, which is what you're gonna use it for the most. It is defense, even though it's a damaging spell. So 1, 2, and 3 for Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And last but not least, it's Gotenks. And on Gotenks, since he is new, there are quite a lot of different builds running around lately. I have tested him a lot, and I have talked to a lot of people who have tested him as well. And I think the most consistent way to play Gotenks is skill 3, and then skill 1, and then skill 2. Now, the thing is, in laning phase, you need your ghosts as much as possible. Your ghost is what's gonna carry you in lane. If you max ghost in lane, you will have a lot of pressure, you will have more damage, more slowing, more chance to last hit enemy minions. It's very consistent, like maxing this skill up first. A lot of the time I'm playing Gotenks and I'm stealing all the minions because of my ghosts. So it's very strong getting that first. Second up is Hyper Ultra Super Combo, which is very good, but it has a downside to it, which is people can just vanish out of it. So if you max this skill out first and people just press vanish, you kinda just wasted your entire max level skill. You can wait for vanishes, and you should wait for vanishes, but it's just a lot of the time you don't get that opportunity because people will just kinda kill you, because he doesn't really do that much other than that. And his Galactic Donut is just a very underwhelming skill. It's like sometimes you will get a 3-man pull, which is very cool, but it's in most cases you're just not gonna get that. And he is in a game where people have so much mobility, so much movement speed. Hitting the Galactic Donut on a lot of people when it's so slow is just very inconsistent. So I don't think you should be prioritizing this ability at all. I think this should be your last priority. Ghost should be the first, since it gives you so much more damage. You can even put it on yourself or your allies, and you have a very low cooldown on it, and you have multiple charges, so it's just the most consistent skill for Gotenks. In skill 1 up damage games, you can go with skill 1 as your max. Just be aware that it might be less consistent, but nonetheless you can still go for it. If you time it right, it can do very good damage, and it can stun for a very long time. So in my opinion, it's 3-1-2 for the most part. 1-3-2 if it's super skill 1 damage is buffed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any recommendations for me in terms of future videos, you can let me know in the comments. I will be getting around to doing the guide videos for the different characters slowly, though these videos take a little bit more time to make. And I like to stream the game every day on Twitch, so usually it's so naturally, obviously, it's gonna take a bit more time to get those videos out compared to these, which are very simple. But I still hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know how you feel about it in the comments. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!